Hey, so tonight I went to see the new David Fincher film, Gone Girl, and when I got out of the theater, it's actually been a few hours now, when I got out of the theater, the first thing that I thought was, it's good to know that David Fincher can still disturb me, because this movie really disturbed me, and it's good to know that David Fincher has not lost his touch, because he has not lost his touch. But I was just I felt really challenged by this film. I was trying to think about, I was sitting there and I just kept thinking to myself, what did I just see? What did I just watch? And not only that, but what did I take away from this, if anything? And what was I supposed to take away from this? What is the movie trying to tell me? And, when I got out of the theater, I talked to my friends who I saw it with for a little bit, very briefly, and then I went to a diner, and, by this point it was well past midnight. I went to a diner and had some hot chocolate and some pie, and I just kind of sat there by myself, literally like pondering this. And because the movie really just threw me off. And had some ideas. Some ideas finally started kind of circulating, and so I took some notes on my phone, went home, took a notepad, and through 2 pages, just jotted everything that I was thinking of down about this movie. And comparing the first act, the second act, and the third act. All 3 of which are so unique in their own ways and so different from each other, especially in tone. But at the same time, the 3 acts of Gone Girl are especially the first and third act, are very symmetrical. And it was at that point when it hit me how symmetrical the film was, at least from how I saw it, from what I was seeing. And before I continue to talk about this, I just want to say right now, it kind of hit me halfway through all this after seeing the movie. When was the last time I saw a new movie, and it blew me away so much that I had to go to a diner and think it over for a while and then go home and jot down 2 pages of notes? When was the last time that happened? I mean, if that's happening, whether the movie is good or not, you've seen something special at least. Now, whether or not it's special in a good way or a bad way is up to whether or not the movie was good and whether or not you had a good experience watching it. But in this case, I can say this is a really good movie. This was so entertaining to sit through. It was funny. It was mysterious. It was disturbing. It was clever. I seriously just did not know. From beginning to end, I just did not know where this movie was going. And I didn't want it to end because it just kept getting crazier. Through the first act, I'm sitting here like, okay, this is kind of what I was expecting. Okay, there's that part from the trailer. Makes sense. Okay, yeah, alright. And I think I'm kind of getting it. And then curveball. And second act hits, and I'm like, oh, whoa, ooh, okay, now this is starting to really get good. And third act, again, by the time the third act hit, I stopped trying to guess what was going to happen. Because I was just like, I'm trying to be like a step ahead of this, and I can't. And like I said, the movie just keeps getting crazier. And so it was really entertaining to sit through. And there's some really funny dialogue in there. There's some really memorable characters and side characters. It's really interesting to see Tyler Perry in a film that you normally don't see Tyler Perry in. And he actually does a really good job. Tyler Perry is at his A game here. It's actually really nice to see him give a really good performance in a really good movie. I'm not the biggest fan of his, but dude, props to you, man. You did a great job. Neil Patrick Harris, again, kind of like Tyler Perry, kind of a supporting role, but he is great too. The two leads, however, are, they're the ones that really, at least acting-wise, really carry this film. Ben Affleck and, I hope I say her name right, Rosamund Pike. She was in Jack Reacher. That's what I know her for. I know she's been in other stuff, but that's what I know her for. But Rosamund Pike deserves an Oscar, in my opinion, or at least a nomination. Like she just brings it. Like oh my gosh! I mean, the first act of the film, she's narrating. Second act she just takes the lead, and my gosh, you just can't keep your eyes off of her. And Ben Affleck, I've always liked Ben Affleck, actually. He's been in some bad movies, but I mean, I really like Ben Affleck as an actor overall, and he's great in this too. He brings his top game here. So, I mean, the casting, I really don't have anything bad to say about the casting. Is great in this film. And, David Fincher's directing and the camera work, the music. There's one scene in particular out of all of them, and I'm not trying to get into any spoilers here, but there's a scene kind of close towards the end, and it's a murder scene, and you knew it was coming. Like, I knew it was one of the few moments in the movie where I knew it was coming. And when it happened, even when it happened, the music, the camera work, the editing, it was so bloody and in your face, and it was disturbing. And it stuck in my head. I have it so good, like, in my memory right now, because it hit me so hard. There are themes in this movie of trust and marriage, definitely deception. There's a lot of deception going on. There's a lot of people putting on a mask and being something they're not. And pretending to be something they're not, sorry. And, like I said, when I started to write down notes on it, I started to see how symmetrical the first act and third act are. I started to think about the title, Gone Girl, and it's at that point where I started to see how all three acts work and how the arc of the story works, or is kind of forming, and it really just hit me at that point. And at the end of the day, this is just such a well-filmed, very interesting mystery thriller. At the end, I'm going to say this right now, and this is definitely going to turn a lot of viewers off. This ending is not what you want it to be. Again, I'm not giving anything away here, but I'm just saying, you're kind of hoping it's going to end this way, but it's not. It's going to end the way you don't want it to end. Again, that's going to turn a lot of people off, and I get that. I get it. But at the end of the day, I just sat there and I was like, this movie really challenged me, and it was really clever. It was as like the mystery part of it goes. It was very interesting, and I was drawn into this movie so much. I loved this movie. That's really all there is to it. I just sound like a broken record now. I mean, I don't want to get into spoilers. If I get into spoilers, I'll be here for the next 2 hours talking about this movie. So anyways, yes, I definitely recommend this, especially if you're a fan of David Fincher's work, and if you're a fan of mystery thrillers, and if if you like deeper films and movies that have a lot more going on than just the surface, definitely check this out. So that's my review of Gone Girl. I give it an A. I really liked it.